Socialization refers to our systematic training into the norms of our culture. It is the process of learning the meanings and practices that enable us to make sense of and behave appropriately in that culture. It begins at birth and continues throughout life. Indeed, the forces of socialization are gathering throughout life. They are gathering even before birth, when our families begin to project their hopes, dreams, and expectations onto our lives. Considering this, socialization becomes more than just being social with groups. It also incorporates those behaviors that promotes and continue values, norms, customs, traditions, symbols, etc. of a specific culture, thus preserving it. An example of this cultural education is the process of gender socialization. The ecological context of individual interactions and experiences determines the degree to which individuals can develop their abilities and realize their potentials. There are 4 basic structures in which relationships and interactions take place to form patterns that affect human development: the exosystem and the macrosystem. Ecological systems affecting socialization. First is microsystem, which refers to the activities and relationships with significant others experienced by a developing person in a particular small setting such as family, peer group, or community. Family. Family is the setting that provides nurturance, affection, and a variety of opportunities. It is the primary socializer of the child in that it has the most significant impact on the child's development. Carcarino said, "The child who is not adequately nurtured or loved, such as one who grows up in an abrasive, dysfunctional family, may have developmental problems." Also, children who do not have sufficient opportunities to manipulate objects, to model desirable behaviors, to initiate activity, or to be exposed to a language-rich environment will be at a disadvantage when they reach school. This early disadvantage will persist and even remain as the child progresses through school unless intervention, such as that provided by some quality child care programs, can modify the opportunities at home and in school. School. School is the setting in which children formally learn about their society. The school teaches reading, writing, arithmetic, history, science, and so on. Teachers encourage the development of various skills and behaviors by being role models and by providing motivation for children to succeed in learning. They even impart values and beliefs in children. Peer group. Peer group is the setting in which children are generally unsupervised by adults, thereby gaining experience in independence. In the peer group, children get a sense of who they are and what they can do by comparison with others. Peers provide companionship and support as well as learning experiences in cooperation and role-taking. Community. Community or neighborhood on a smaller scale is the main setting in which children learn by doing. The facilities available to children determine what real experiences they will have. Is there a library? Are stores and workplaces nearby where children can observe people at work? Are the people with whom children interact in the community simple or diverse? Are the people in the community advocates for children? These questions relate to the significance of the community as a socializer. The child's development is affected in each of the aforementioned settings, not only by the child's relationships with others in the family, school, peer group or community, but also by interactions among members of the particular microsystem. For example, the father's relationship with mother affects her treatment of the child. If the father is emotionally supportive of the mother, she is likely to be more involved and to have more positive interactions with the child. Another example is a child's classroom performance varies as a function of whether or not the teacher has taught the child's older sibling and how well that sibling performed. A teacher who has taught a high achieving older sibling tends to have high expectations from younger siblings. The younger sibling in turn is more likely to perform as expected. Mesosystem. The second basic structure, the mesosystem, where meso means intermediate, consists of linkages and interrelationships between two or more of a developing person's microsystems, such as the family and the school, or the family and the peer group. The concept of linkages was introduced by Marconi, inventor of the wireless telegraph and winner of the 1909 Nobel Prize in Physics. He posited the principle of 6 degrees of separation, meaning it would take no more than 6 connections to link any two people in the world. Marconi was referring to telegraph stations, but today social scientists apply the idea of personal linkages. By having subjects send letters to people they knew in the United States, Milgram found that 2 random people were connected by an average chain of 6 acquaintances. The impact of mesosystems on the child depends on the number and quality of interrelationships. Bronfenbrenner uses the example of the child who goes to school at 1 on the first day. This means that there is only one single linkage between home and school, that is the child. Where there is little linkage between home and school in terms of allos, experiences, objects and behavioral style, there also tends to be little academic achievement for the child. In contrast, where all these links are strong, there is likely to be academic competence. To illustrate many studies, it has been found that a consistent relationship exists between the joint effects of family and school over time and academic performance. When the style of family interaction was similar to the schools in that both settings encouraged child participation, academic performance was enhanced. This, the more numerous the qualitative links or interrelationships between the child's microsystems, the more impact they have on socialization. Mesosystems then provide support for activities going on in microsystems. For example, when parents invite a child's friend to their home, or when parents encourage their child to join a certain club team or youth group, the socialization impact of the peers is enhanced through parental approval. Another example of mesosystem impact occurs when business in the community form partnerships to support schools, sponsor local events, or give rewards. The exosystem is the third level of Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems theory. The exosystem contains the settings or events that the child does not actively participate in, but that have a profound effect on the child's development nonetheless. Unlike the mesosystem and microsystem, the exosystem influences the child indirectly as it trickles down through other individuals that have an influence on the child's life. Exosystems can be temporary, like a parent being laid off from their job, or long term, like the death of an extended family member. Media. Media like television, movies, videos, DVDs, books, magazines, music, computers, consoles, and cellular phones are as significant a socializer as just described, because the media presents a setting in which a child can view the whole world, past, present, future, as well as places, things, roles, relationships, attitudes, values, and behaviors. Much of today's media technology is interactive, providing opportunities to relate socially in that they are multifaceted, such as cell phones, social networking sites, and computerized games. Parents' workplace. Although a child may never have any role in the parent's workplace, or in fact never even go there, the events which occur at the parent's place of employment do affect the child. For example, if the parent has a bad day at work, or is laid off, or promoted, or has to work overtime, all of these events impact the family and the child. Other examples of exosystem process influencing socialization include neighbors, industry, local politics, and social service. Macro system. The macro system is composed of cultural values, customs, and laws. It refers to the overall patterns of ideology and organization that characterize a given society or social group. Macro systems can be used to describe the cultural or social context of various societal groups, such as social classes, ethnic groups, or religious affiliates. This layer is the outermost layer in the child's environment. The effects of larger principles defined by the macro systems have a cascading influence throughout the interactions of other layers. The macro system influences what, how, when, and where we carry out our relations. For example, a program like Women, Infants, and Children may positively impact a young mother through healthcare, vitamins, and other educational resources. It may empower her life so that she in turn is more effective and caring with her newborn. In this example, without an umbrella of beliefs, services, and support for families, children and their parents are open to great harm and deterioration. In a sense, the macro system that surrounds us helps us to hold together the many threads of our lives. The macro system setting is the actual culture of an individual. The cultural context involves the socio-economic status of the person and or his family, his ethnicity or race, and living in a still developing or a third world country. For example, being born to a poor family makes a person work harder every day. Chronosystems. The chronosystem involves temporal changes in ecological systems or within individuals, producing new conditions that affect development. For example, significant societal events can produce a variety of effects on children. Accessibility to knives and guns has affected many on-campus security procedures. Schools installed metal detectors, hired guns, and initiated zero-tolerance policies, whereby aggressive students are expelled for one offense. For another example, the physical changes a child experiences during puberty can affect his or her self-esteem, depending on how the child's developing both compares to his or her friends as well as to the cultural ideal body type. To illustrate that changes in a macro system can result in changes in exosystems, mesosystems, and microsystems, sociologist Elder and his colleagues conducted a very thorough longitudinal study of 167 California children born between 1920 and 1929. They compared the life course development of children whose families had experienced a change in their socio-economic status during the Great Depression, a period of widespread economic insecurity in the United States, and those who had not. The immediate exosystem effect was loss of a job. This in turn caused emotional distress, which was experienced in the home and affected the children. That is, effect on microsystem. There were also secondary exosystem effects. In families hit by depression, the father lost status in the eyes of the children and the mother pined in importance. The affected father's parenting behavior became more rejecting, especially toward adolescent girls. Children, especially boys, from affected families expressed a stronger identification with the peer group. Children from affected families also participated more in domestic roles and outside jobs, with girls being more likely to do the former and boys the latter. The fact that longitudinal data were available over a period of more than 60 years gave elder the opportunity to assess the impact of childhood experience within and outside the family on behavior in later life, that is, effects on chronosystem. He found that the long-term consequences of the depression varied according to the age of the child at that time. Children who were pre-adolescents, when their families suffered economic loss, did less well in school, showed less stable and less successful work histories, and exhibited more emotional and social difficulties even in adulthood than did those of the some socioeconomic status from families who did not suffer economically. Such diverse effects have been explained as due to the impact of economic hardship on the quality of parenting and hence on the psychological well-being of children. In contrast, those who were teenagers when the depression hit their families did better in school, were more likely to go to college, had happier marriages, exhibited more successful work career, and in general were more satisfied with life than youngsters of the socioeconomic status who were not affected by the depression. Thus, favorable outcomes were more pronounced for teenagers from middle socioeconomic status backgrounds, but were also evident among their lower status counterparts. Interestingly, adults whose families escaped economic ruin turned out to be less successful, both educationally and vocationally, than those whose families were deprived. Thus, a major consequence of the depression was that economic loss changed the relation of children to the family and the adult world by involving them in work that was necessary for the welfare of others. This early involvement contributed to deprived children's socialization for adulthood. Elder hypothesized that the loss of economic security forced the family to mobilize its human resources. Everyone had to take on new responsibilities. In sum, Elder study shows how ecological change over time can have varying impacts on a child's socialization depending on other variables such as the age and gender of the child, the existing family relationships, and the socioeconomic status of the family before the change, thereby illustrating the multiplicity of variables interacting to affect socialization. Socialization must pass on the cultural heritage to the next generation while also enabling that generation to become competent adults in society. Thus, every socialization agent engages in preparing children for both stability and change. Training for stability, which is implemented by passing on the cultural heritage, and the status quo to children involves making their behavior somewhat predictable and conforming. But paradoxically, preparation for change, enabling children to become competent for a future society, is very likely involves disrupting some stable patterns and encouraging new ways of thinking and behaving. So, to summarize this, socialization is the process of learning the meanings and practices that enables us to make sense of and behave appropriately in that culture. There are four basic ecological structures in which relationships and interactions take place to form patterns that affect human development: the microsystem, the mesosystem, the exosystem, and the macrosystem. The microsystem is the layer closest to the child and contains the structure with which the child has direct contact. The microsystem encompasses the relationships and interactions a child has with his or her immediate surroundings, such as family, school, neighborhood, or childcare environments. Mesosystem connects two or more systems in which child, parent, and family live. Mesosystems provide the connection between the structures of the child's microsystem. For example, the connection between the child's teacher and his parents, between his church and his neighborhood. Each represents mesosystem. The exosystem defines the larger social system in which the child does not directly function. The structures in this layer impact the child's development by interacting with some structure in his or her microsystem. Parent workplace schedules or community-based family resources are examples. The chronosystem encompasses the dimension of time as it relates to a child's environment. Elements within this system can be either external, such as the timing of a parent's death, or internal, such as the physiological change that occurs with the aging of a child. Family dynamics needs to be framed in the historical context as they occur within each system.